next 3 days, we are going to be trying all sorts of different coffees from different roasteries in the UK, or roasteries, I don't know. And we're also going to be testing which of the products make the best coffee. We're going to be talking coffee beans. We're going to be grinding, see how good a coffee we can make with the least amount of stress. Very excited to see what we learn once we get there. It's a long way north. First stop is Holy Island. Welcome back to the Vanlife channel. We are on the road visiting 3 coffee roasters and finding out how to use these wonderful gadgets to make the perfect cup of coffee. I'm a long-time user of Nespresso, which is a great simple way to make coffee on the road. But one thing I don't love is about the waste it creates. Even when you try and recycle on the road, the aluminium, all that stuff, it's just not, I don't think, great for the environment. And also, when you're using coffee beans, you can actually get a much nicer tasting coffee. But to be able to do that, you've really got to understand how to use some of these items. Not only are we going to be using some of these coffee brewing methods, we are going to go and visit 3 fantastic roasters here in the UK, going to actually inside the roasteries to see how they're producing coffee and find out which of the coffees they'd recommend for you and your perfect van life coffee every morning. We love bringing this content to you, and we'd be really grateful if you could like and subscribe to our channel, because the more of you that follow us, the more amazing adventures we can go on. Now, because I'm relatively lazy, my go-to for a last year or so has been this Outin. Put hot water in it, it's battery powered, Nespresso pod, off you go. But when I'm on tour with my special ADRIA friends, one in particular is very good at making coffee in the morning, which makes me incredibly lazy. They also, between them, have much more knowledge about how to use this paraphernalia in front of me. So let's bring them in, introduce them, and they can explain all about it. Paul and Matt, come on in.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
So then, Matt, what's your weapon of choice?
Well, I do stovetop sometimes, but I love the AeroPress. It's convenience, packability and lightness. It's very practical. I love a brew with that.
There you go, and Paul?
Stovetop. So this is the full coffee experience. Basically, put your water in, grind your coffee beans, in the go, pressure rises and it bubbles away and gives you the full aroma of the coffee. It's a bit more relaxed and makes a lovely cup of coffee.
Okay, so we're going to take these coffee brewing methods, visit the 3 roasteries and find out how to make the perfect coffee.
In a campervan.
In a campervan. First of all, let's cook up a storm, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Cheers, guys. Beautiful. Little beer doing that.
We're up early, if you've probably seen from the alarm, and the reason being is because, if you can see out the window, we are getting a sunrise.
It's now just after 5 in the morning. My brain woke me up at 10 to 4, like holiday brain, you know, when you're going on holiday and you wake up unnecessarily early. We are going to try and catch sunrise as we drive over to the beautiful Holy Island, and it's due to be a spectacular morning, so let's do this. What time is this? It's really early. God.
So, you might be wondering why we're getting up so early. Well, apart from seeing the gorgeous sunrise, the holy island of Lindisfarne is only accessible via the causeway twice a day because of the tide. So in order to make the most of our time there and not end up stranded on the island, today we need to be on and off before 10:45 AM.
So we're driving to the RVP, which is just at the start of the causeway over to Holy Island. Look at that sunrise.
As I say, the world is shining on us today, gentlemen.
In all my years living in the northeast, I've never ever done this. Shame on me.
Yeah, but look at when you're doing it. It is incredible to do this on our own or 3 vans together with nobody else. It's amazing.
This is why we got up early.
Sorry, I dropped my radio.
So I think it's safe to say that waking up at 4 AM was definitely worth it. Our only issue now is that no one else is awake, so we have some time to kill exploring the island. And we're on the holy island of Lindisfarne, which is a tidal island off the northeast coast of the UK. It became famous in the 7th century thanks to St Aidan and Cuthbert as the seat of Christianity. And after that little history lesson, I think it's about time we went to visit our first coffee roastery. Shall we?
So first stop on our Brew with a View tour, we're on the holy island of Lindisfarne, and we've come to an amazing business called Pilgrims Coffee. And this is Andrea, and you run Pilgrims Coffee here?
I manage the coffee house and the gardens here.
Beautiful.
My husband does all the cooking, he's the chef, and the owners, Andrew and Vicky. Andrew does all of the management of the roastery side of the business, alongside Joseph, who is our coffee roaster as well.
I've never been to Holy Island before. It's the most unbelievably beautiful place, and I think we've timed it perfectly in terms of the weather. Do you live on the island?
I do now.
Do
I
you?
actually just live up there.
Do you? You live right up there?
Right up there, don't we? Yeah.
What's it like, Elodie, living on an island? It's good, you like it, yeah?
You've got a school here too, haven't you?
We live next to an ice cream shop.
That is
Next to an ice cream shop, okay. And you have a school on the island?
Yes. It's
Really?
Very small. Currently 8 children.
8?
Yes.
In the school?
Yes.
Total?
Total.
Love it.
Very lucky, aren't you?
Very lucky.
Yes, you can.
Gone to get ice cream. Bye.
Bye.
Here you are on the island,
Yeah.
running this unbelievable coffee shop. The coffee, I have to say, is fantastic.
Great.
And you roast the coffee here?
We do. In that very small little building at the end of the garden is our roastery on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, we also offer coffee online, bag it up for retail.
So, and we're drinking a daily bread at the
So your
moment,
daily
so-
bread, that's our kind of most versatile coffee blend that we make here. The beans in this blend tend to differ depending on different variables. So seasonality being one of them. Joseph and Andrew spend a lot of time sourcing to make sure that what they are sourcing is both ethical and is the best kind of quality that they're going to get. It is designed to be delicious black, so it's got a subtle sweetness, but it's really great with milk as well because it has got lower acidity. So when you put the milk into it, it just works across all levels.
It's delicious coffee.
Oh good, I'm
Really
glad
nice.
you like it.
Yeah. Are there any tips or rules, or how do people use these beans to create a great coffee in the morning if they're on the road?
It really depends on what you are drinking, I suppose. So my kind of go-to tends to be cafetiere if I'm out and about, because it is just really simple. Grind it to order is always the best if you can, but even taking a pre-ground coffee with you is going to be much better than the alternatives. Obviously, the longer that a coffee is ground for, it is going to start to lose the characteristics. It's not going to go bad as such, you're just not going to get as much of the flavour characters from it. However, having said that, you could get a couple of weeks out of a pre-ground coffee as long as you're storing it in a nice airtight container.
Okay.
You wouldn't have any issues with it.
What's the difference between just taking a scoop or weighing it, or how important is that in the overall process?
It's not hugely important. You're still going to get a really good coffee if you choose to use a scoop rather than weighing it out. Before I started working here, I always use scoop in my coffee.
Right, straight in.
Straight in,
Okay.
not worry too much about it. I've only really started kind of looking into more weighing out the coffee since I've worked here, because I think Andrew's such a perfectionist. He wants every cup to be the perfect tasting coffee, and that is literally the aim for him. Having said that, I think the coffee tastes so great anyway, you don't need to have that level in order to enjoy the coffee.
So there's some variance in it, but it still tastes great at the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Pilgrims Coffee, first exploration into the flavours of Pilgrims. What would you recommend for people to try?
I would definitely go with the daily bread. I think it is the most versatile all-rounder. So I would definitely go with that coffee.
And you were saying earlier that on your website, Pilgrims Coffee website, you've
Yeah.
got some tips and recipes and bits and pieces on there, right?
We do, yeah.
Okay. What is the website?
pilgrimscoffee.com.
Perfect, we'll link that below.
And Joseph and Andrew put together lots of brewing guides, lots of more information with regards to where they get the coffees from, different extraction methods. You've got different tips and guides on the website to help you with that.
Thank you very much. I think you've been amazing, and the coffee shop is absolutely beautiful. So thank you for welcoming us today.
Absolutely.
Thank you for making the sun shine, because it's absolutely glorious. And good luck with the business. I hope this brings lots of orders to you.
Thank you so much.
What's coffee bread?
Coffee bread.
Is
So
it-
it is a spiced focaccia, so it's spiced with cinnamon, nutmeg, kind of standard spices. Then it is topped with a glaze that's made from ice and sugar and our in-house coffee.
Unbelievable.
So together to make it look nicer.
That's coming home in the van. Beautiful, thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. First coffee of the day.
No, definitely won't be the last. This place is amazing, isn't it?
Amazing. I'm coming back here.
Yeah, it's so worth it. You're so close to this place, that why would you not?
I can't believe I've never been.
No,
Gents, you have seen the time, haven't you?
Why? What time is it?
The tide comes in like 10 minutes.
Shit.
We should probably grab.
10:50.
Yeah.
Why did you insist on getting cake?
Well, it's coffee cake. We had to try the cake.
Say, just a minute.
I didn't know the tide was going to come in. Hello?
A Coast Guard, please. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Anyone for cake?
Fuck off.
Once the tide eventually went out, we were back on the road to our next overnight stay. The Tannil Inn in the north of the beautiful Yorkshire Dales. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't exactly on our side, but after a very long day, we were ready to call it a night and get some shut-eye ready for tomorrow.
As far as pub stops go, that one has got to be the best.
Fabulous food. My jumper still smells of dinner, which is quite nice. I can taste lamb stew from a big sniff. Oh, we are on top of the world.
It is just absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? We imagine our country's pretty small, and it is, but yet there's room all over it to have these vast areas of beautiful wilderness.
Some particularly spicy hills coming up through the North Yorkshire Dales. Oh God, it's like a roller coaster.
Whee!
Oh, I think I've made myself travel sick.
That'll be your cake.
Fucking cake.
I don't think Matt's walkie-talkie's working.
I get the feeling you're right.
Well, this one's fully charged, so again, if we pull in, I'll give him this one and I'll put that one on charge.
Well, he's currently waving something out the window, honking his horn and flashing his hazards, so...
Such an attention seeker, my God.
Things you do.
I think this is going very, very well so far.
Done less than a mile in 11 minutes.
I've not heard anything. And it was like... So, we settled in for a 2-hour drive to try our next cup of coffee.
We've made it to Yorkshire, and I tell you what, if the coffee here is as good as the smell outside, we're in for a real treat. This is Darkwoods Coffee.
Welcome to Darkwoods Coffee, of course. We'll have a little wander into the kind of the warehouse and the main roastery and meet some of the team as well. The way around, it's like,
cool brand.
Come on through. So in here, we typically try and keep coffee, whether it's bigger boxes, kilo size, or kind of our retail products. We want to keep it as fresh as possible, so we'll be sending coffee out that's been roasted within a week. So that's kind of finding that balance of having enough stock to get it out the door versus kind of not allowing it to get old or anything like that, I guess. But this just shows our range of lots of different coffees that we use as our almost like ingredients for our main blends. So Ethiopia, really important to what we do. Brazil, it's the main producer of coffee in the whole world. So we buy from, again, I think we mentioned out there, but 3 different kind of producers. So in those instances, single family owned farm. In that instance, lots of producers working together as a cooperative. And that's really interesting, I think, in how sourcing coffee ultimately. And we also do little bits of what I might call project work in some of these communities as well. So around Asparagro, we've helped build some reservoirs. Access to water is really critical. So having means of actually storing water, obviously when it's raining heavily, and keeping it and using it later is something that these, the producers were asking for. Just lots of things that we can potentially do on the ground. So, so this is the real heart of the building, I guess, in a lot of ways. Drum roasting, lots of cast iron, Probat manufactured again. So we might roast, probably on a quiet day, we would do 12, 13 batch roasts of coffee on here. And on a busier day, between 20 and 25. So bear in mind, a roast might take 15 minutes. Well, we're effectively cooling down the coffee at this stage. So 20 minutes in total, 3 roasts an hour. Nick's just doing a final kind of quality check within there. Again, it's just the importance of having somebody hands-on looking after everything going on. So Nick's going to then pass it through a de-stoner. Again, just working off density really. Coffee goes up, anything stone related stays down here.
I love it. Honestly, brilliant. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. And
right, time to introduce Leon.
Hello.
Leon is a professional coffee roaster. What we've done is bring our paraphernalia to Leon, because we could have sat in the camper vans and tried to experiment, but we thought someone that knows what they're doing would get to the answer much quicker.
Sounds good, yeah. So I think we'll make a brew with the Outin grinder, so we'll be using that, but then we'll be manually brewing a coffee with the AeroPress. So we'll do a 14 gram brew, and you're wanting to grind this kind of relatively fine coarse in the middle of your grinder, so we'd probably go for number 5 on this one. So number 1 is typically the finest, so that would probably be something for like espresso. Number 10 is really coarse. You could do like a cold brew with that, something that you're wanting to steep or brew for a long time. We're looking for something between. The AeroPress, you're using a little bit of force, so it doesn't need to be too coarse. We're wanting something that's nice and even. We can get the most out of that coffee. We're going to be using driftwood. So this is one of our lighter roasted coffees. It's a single origin Colombia. Really nice as sort of a long sort of filter coffee. Really nice black, sort of citrus notes on that one. So that's a washed Colombia. So that's, while that's grinding, we'll set up our AeroPress. Got a nice clear one. You want a strong brew in the morning. So what we'd do is we'd do it invert, so basically upside down.
This is the way they tell you not to do it in the instructions, isn't
They
it?
do, yeah, they say not to. I find if you putting the water straight in to something like this, it can start just seeping through on its own. It's just going to be a weak brew in the bottom, and doing it this way ensures that it's locked in. You're pouring hot water in there, it's not going anywhere, and you can control how long you're steeping that coffee for. Fantastic. So we've gone for a number 5. It's fairly coarse, kind of like sand. It smells good.
Yeah, it's lovely smell too.
Very nice.
So I'd always recommend just pre-wetting this paper. It just gets rid of that kind of papery flavour. It just allows it to extract better.
As we're going inverted, the other benefit is the filter's not moving away from the filter.
Exactly.
As you turn it over, so it holds it in
Yeah,
place.
so doing this brew, with 14 grams of coffee in here, we'll be doing 200 millilitres of water. If you don't have a scale, it doesn't matter, it's kind of just up to the line, to be honest with you.
It's beautifully done, isn't it? Look at that.
Yeah, I just typically leave it for about a minute, and what the stirring allows is you kind of get this crust on top, so you're breaking the crust, and that is just releasing the gases, evenly sort of distributing the coffee particles, and then after that we'll be ready to pour into the mug. So we'll give that a little stir, and then we'll go on with the lid, And then this is where the fun happens and it goes all over the van. So this one, I just find it easier just to put the coffee cup on top and you are just flipping it over and giving it a push. So you want a little bit of pressure, a bit of resistance, and that comes from grinding it slightly finer than you would for sort of a V60 or a classic filter coffee.
With the grounds afterwards, because they're totally environmentally friendly, you can literally just pour them on the ground. It's actually good for the ground, isn't it?
They're actually really good for the ground, yeah. My parents live in Spain and they have lemon trees. Ground coffee, because it's quite acidic. Adding it to things like that, fruit trees and stuff, they absolutely love it.
It's a lovely colour, lovely aroma. If you'd hand ground that doesn't require any electricity at all.
None,
apart from heating the water.
Yeah, with this one, I mean, that's really compact as well. You can just go anywhere with that. It's tiny.
We need your professional opinion, obviously, now.
Yeah. So. It's not bitter, it's not too acidic, it's really well balanced.
It's lovely, isn't it?
It's lovely and smooth as well. Professional opinion on the AeroPress then?
Yeah, I love AeroPress. I mean, I always use it out camping myself. It's really compact. You can get a good brew, and you can always gauge, like after making a brew, let's say at home with a scale or something, I only need to fill it to there.
So if you were going hiking, for example, rather than away in the van, how far in advance can you grind the beans, and how long are the grounds going to be good to brew with?
So I'd say, like, if you ground it even like on a Friday and you were away Saturday, Sunday, you'd be absolutely fine. If you were taking it and grinding it on the spot, obviously you'd get just that more aromatic, that more fresh taste. But it's not a necessity. You could grind it at home and take it with you, and it would be absolutely fine all week.
Fantastic. Yeah. I think it's a great coffee.
It is. It's
lovely.
Nice for like.
So we're going to move to doing an espresso using cutting-edge technology.
Let's do it.
So we're going to use the Outin minnow to do this.
So yeah, this is going to be using pressure. We want the coffee as fine as we can get it. So we'd go kind of probably to its like maximum fineness.
Theory being the tighter it is, the finer the grind.
Yeah, so these have like what we call burrs, which are kind of essentially crushing the bean but in quite an even way. So we're basically just moving them closer together to allow a finer grind. This one uses 14 grams as well, which is pretty cool. So exactly the same as the AeroPress. For this one though, we are going to use a dark espresso blend. So we call this one Black Hill. Brazil base for this one. Brazil works great in espresso. It's just nutty, chocolatey, really clean. It's always a good go-to for espresso. You can kind of work out with this, if you're out and about, it looks like it's about half of the dosage cup. You can hear it already. There we go. You can feel that resistance. Obviously we've changed the burrs and they are quite close together, so you can feel that. It'll warm you up in the morning, definitely.
So you get a workout as well.
Exactly,
so
yeah.
A few moments later.
Well, I'm seeing the benefit of the Outin.
Yes.
Yeah, as I say, can I have a feel of that resistance? Because I've never operated one of these. Your dual hand movement is obviously, it just comes to me as well now.
You got it going now, yeah. You've got the motion.
Yeah.
It looks like we've finished.
Yeah, feels like it's done.
Team effort.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me have a go at that.
So yeah, let's see, this should be fairly fine. It is, that's perfect. So that is kind of like really fine sand. If you were to sort of,
almost dust, isn't it?
You can leave kind of an imprint. That is what we want for espresso. That's done a really good job. You can see it's super even.
Yeah.
Really nice texture on that. Yeah, that'll give us a lovely crema.
Talk us through crema.
Yeah, so crema is kind of like that gas at the end of the espresso that kind of gives you that famous, sort of almost looks like a little Guinness. You've got the dark coffee and then the light brown Robusta. It'll give you more crema. It just has more kind of oxygen and gases released when it's brewed. In the bottom here, there's kind of a chamber to add the coffee to, which is hard to believe it'll go in this little chamber, but it does. So what we can do as well is something called tamping, which is kind of just a little bit of a push just to allow that extra bit of room for the coffee. And then we've got here a little dosage cup for the espresso. And what we'll do next is we'll fill this with hot water. It doesn't have to be hot, it does heat it up, but just to speed things up,
Yeah, so if you're putting in cold water, it's long press of the button, isn't it? And if you're putting in hot water, it's double press.
Yes.
And that's how you differentiate how it actually makes the coffee.
So again, kind of just up to the top really. Go in with the lid here, and then we've got the cup. There we go, look at that. That looks pretty good to me.
That's very impressive, especially that's the first time you've used one of these, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, they're actually really easy to use, to be honest. And that, it just looks like a really good espresso shot.
Does it?
Look at that. Looks all right, doesn't it?
Very nice.
Nice grabber.
That does exactly what you said, look like Guinness.
It does look like a little bit of Guinness, doesn't it, to be honest?
Yeah. I'm wired.
Oh yeah, you see that's more my
So that's like a
strength
classic,
of it.
yeah.
That's a lot stronger, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that definitely suits that brewing method more, having a slightly darker coffee. Just allows you that, it's a little bit richer. You could add milk if you wanted to, but that to me is like
nice.
Rich.
So I would add a touch of water to the hot water.
You can do, exactly, yeah. Yeah, you could add water to that and make it just go a little bit further, but that tastes amazing.
It does, doesn't it?
If you had to pick for Vanlife, one brewing method and one bean, which one would you personally go for as the expert?
For me, I do like the longer black coffee, so AeroPress for a brewing method is just like, it's just the one. You can chuck it in the van, it's there, it's versatile. So I think that hand grinder's amazing for the size. I'd probably go with like the hand grinder, the AeroPress and the darker coffee. It's nice to have a stronger coffee, in the sense of like flavour strong.
We've learned a lot today, haven't we?
Yeah,
So much.
Drank a lot of coffee as well.
I'm wired.
I'm feeling it.
Our drive now to Wales is going to be very, very, very fast. Thank you so much to you and
No worries, thank you guys, it's been fun.
Massive education.
Of course, yeah.
There you go. Now you know what to use in your van.
Perfect.
I think it's fair to say after today, we know a bit more than we did when we started this trip. And we might have had one too many espressos, but we're going to need them for the next leg of the journey because we're off to Wales. As you'd expect, the moment we crossed into Wales, it was raining. But the fuel was cheaper, which we were very happy about, and we found a lovely little campsite for the night.
Where's Guy?
Where's Guy? Where's Guy?
Weather is definitely different this morning. It's like been really stormy all night. We are now in Wales. We went to a park up at Llanberis by the kind of base of Snowdon area last night. There's a air, I guess you'd call it, which had I don't know, 8 or 9 or 10 campervan park-ups, but there's only 2 available. So we resorted to Caravan and Motorhome Club. Rock on. We found a CL and we are in someone's front garden. Now we're going to get up in a minute and crack on and go and see Poblado Coffee. I hope I pronounced that right. Coffee in Welsh is C-O-F-F-I apparently. So there you go. That's your Welsh lesson for the day. Done.
Okay, so one of my preferred methods of making coffee in the campervan is the stovetop. Now this gives you just a longer experience and it gives the aromas of the coffee. So basically a mocha pot is in 3 chambers. You've got your bottom chamber, which is where you put your water. You've got your middle chamber, which is your coffee chamber, where you put your coffee. That sits in there, and then your top just simply screws on the top there. Your coffee will eventually end up in there through the brewing process. And how it works is this pressure, so the boiling water sends pressure up the spout through the coffee and into this chamber here. It sits on the gas stove. You can also use it on an induction hob and an electric hob, so pretty versatile. So we're going to get these into the grinder. Now the grinder setting for the stove top, basically you need it between a medium and a fine. The grinder setting is set underneath, so we're just going to dial that down a little bit and grind. Okay, so that's the coffee ground. It's in the little chamber below there, and now we need to prepare the stove tops. First of all, you need to unscrew it, coffee chamber, fill this with water, and then your coffee chamber sits on top. Add the coffee, and then just tamp it down just a little bit to get it all level. Screw the top back on. It's just a case of putting it on the heat. Using gas. And then just leaving it, and what happens is inside the chamber obviously the water heats up and it forces the pressure up the pipe through the coffee and into this chamber here. So there you have it. The water from there is heated up, sent the water pressure through the coffee in the chamber and produced your coffee. Just lock that down and then we're ready to pour. Delicious. Cheers.
Perfect timing. Thank you very much. Sausages too. Right then, let's go. Boys, you ready to roll?
Yes, ready to roll.
Ready to roll, chaps. Boys, we've got a problem. Mine's dug in. After a wet and very muddy morning, we're finally on our way to the third and final location of our trip.
What the fuck?
After Paul nearly got us all stuck down the Welsh country lanes.
Oh look guys,
Step away from the cake.
they've got cake.
Brew with a View, part 3, and we've made our way into deepest, darkest Wales. It really is deep and dark today because the weather is really special. It's very Welsh. This is Larry, and Larry, where are we? Tell us about the business.
We're in Poblado Coffee, here in beautiful Nantle in Ruri, or Snowdonia National Park.
Tell us a bit about the beans. Where do you get them from? How do you source them?
We buy beans from all over the world, try and source as directly as possible. So we do work with importers, but importers that we trust to be doing the best work in country. And then we try and establish sort of direct relationships with farmers through those importers, because they do great work at getting the coffee into the country, working on the farms, working with farmers. Our investment, say, to sort of commit to the same farms, the same lots every year is what helps to enable that. So we've got direct relations and really great projects going on in Uganda. Recently we've just got one in Zambia. So a lot of East Africa, a lot of Central America and South America as well, and over to Indonesia as well. So there are our three main areas.
Okay, so in front of us here, you've got 2 plates of coffee beans.
First thing you might notice is that they're actually incredibly different colour. They're all unroasted coffee is referred to as green coffee. There's loads of different ways of processing coffee now from harvest, but there's sort of 2 main traditional methods that farmers will use. One called a washed, one called a natural. And the way that these coffees are processed massively impacts how I then roast it, and also how I would then go on to brew it. So this is a washed coffee from Colombia. You'll notice as you smell it, it smells probably quite grassy.
It does smell
perhaps.
grassy. Yeah, it's a very how do you like a natural smell?
Yeah, I think it smells
natural?
almost like where it's sort of freshly cut grass on a rainy day. And these coffees typically have sort of higher acidity, and the way they process this, they take the cherries off the coffee tree. They'll sort of seal it and ferment it for a couple of days, and then they'll manually wash the cherry. So in every cherry you get 2 beans. They'll manually wash it, and then they'll leave it almost in like a polytunnel to dry for sort of anywhere up to 7 days. Whereas in other countries, higher altitudes, particularly in East Africa, you get natural processed coffees. So I'll put this forward. So what they do there is they take the cherry, they'll ferment it again, but then they'll leave it on a raised patio or a raised bed, and they'll sort of manually turn it and leave it within the cherry, and essentially the sun does the work. So the sun starts to sort of almost rot the fruit, and sort of the bean starts to ferment within the fruit. So this orange colour, what you see is actually bits of fruit parchment that have dried on. And as you smell it, I'm sure you probably smelt.
It's a much more fruity.
It's funky, isn't it?
It's a funky, fruity smell, like you get if you went to a greenhouse with lots of different
yes,
things inside it.
Exactly. It's quite organic.
Notes, yeah.
This is our Ugandan coffee, one we're really proud of. This prefers roasting way different to this. So a washed coffee, it has a lot more moisture content. So this needs a much higher temperature of roast. It needs more energy, more heat in the roast, and it prefers a shorter roast time. This, if I was to put that in when it's hot, you actually end up just cooking off all this fruity goodness on the outside. Right. So it's actually a much longer roast at a much lower temperature, and that way you sort of preserve that. And that way you can bring out the best of each bean individually, and then when you blend them together, you're going to get the best of both combining into one hopefully delicious coffee. Yeah.
What would be the different flavour profiles of those 2 beans?
So washed coffee, and particularly this Colombian, you're going to get a much more sort of full-bodied coffee. So you get a bit more sort of chocolatey notes. You'd get some fruity acidity. So think sort of green apple or sort of citrus acidity. You're going to get from a natural coffee, as you smell that sort of like soft, fruity, sweet, funky flavours you're going to get. So more perhaps tropical fruits or almost sort of like roasted nuts or peach kind of flavours, things where there's loads of sweetness but slightly less acidity. Sometimes quite floral as well. From Ethiopia particularly, you get some incredibly floral coffees.
I think a lot of people buy their coffees in supermarkets, or if they're buying it online, 1 being not strong and 10 being very strong. How does that relate to the beans as well, and what should people be looking out for to make a good purchasing choice?
So I suppose those numbers, say on a 1 to 5 scale, what they're trying to communicate, rather than how strong is the coffee, they're trying to communicate how light or dark a roast is it. Every coffee prefers roasting slightly differently. Every coffee has a slightly different sweet spot. So when you see a 3 out of 5, that doesn't mean that coffee could be a 5 or it could be a 1. It means it's at its best at a 3. A 5 being sort of more like dark chocolate, earthy flavours, and one being really fruity. It doesn't relate to the caffeine content. It doesn't relate to the strength of the coffee. All it is trying to communicate is what type of roast is this, and where is this coffee brewed best.
So the misinformation here is if you go, well, I like my coffee strong, so I'll have a 5. It isn't actually any stronger. It's not going to make you more zingy.
No, if anything, it's the opposite. Because actually, the lighter a roast, the more you're preserving the caffeine. Think of it as like cooking with alcohol. That if you leave a stew in with red wine in for 3 hours, there's not going to be any alcohol in that. Whereas if you put it in for a minute and take it out, you're still going to taste wine and it's still going to be pretty boozy.
Your personal favourites then? What's your go-to?
My favourite coffee, I love a natural process just because they never cease to amaze me. They taste so different to what you traditionally expect a coffee to taste like. I think what I love about this, and we'll brew one in a minute, is people drink it and they think, oh my gosh, I never knew coffee could taste like that.
Right, amazing. Okay, so we're going to use some of our paraphernalia again to brew up some coffees. We've got the AeroPress on standby. So over to you, Larry, work your magic.
Well, let's do some brewing. So I would brew using an AeroPress, which I love because it's so versatile. So when we're talking about 2 completely different coffees, you can use the AeroPress in 2 different ways to bring out the best of those.
I'm going to bring in an assistant to help you. Paul, are you willing to step up to the plate and act as number 2? Brilliant. Okay, let's brew some coffee.
Let's do it. So here in front of me, I've got the Colombia, the washed coffee, and Paul's got the Uganda natural. And what you might be able to see already is there's actually 2 totally different quantities of coffee in there. About 20 grams in here, whereas in Paul's one here for this natural, I've actually gone way less, so I've gone only 12 grams. So here, the grind size is sort of like a coarse rock salt, if you like. Whereas in there, that's much more fine. Think of it like a table salt, or the one that you'd stir into your cooking. It's way finer. If you've got one of these, go right down to number 1 on here, or as fine as you can get your hand grinder. So I've also brewed the water way cooler. So rather than take it quite hot, I only brew it to about 85, just because you're going to get quite a lot of brewing out of your AeroPress already when you press it through, so I don't need the maximum amount of brewing through here. And if you're just doing that on a kettle the way I do it, boil your kettle, you want to be able to sort of like hover your hand over it, feel the steam, but you don't want it to burn you basically. You want it to be comfortable. That's how I do it. So I'll get you going first, Paul. You could just pour 200 grams into there.
Okay, dokie.
And that's all I want you to do, just 200. I'll start your timer. 196. There we go, 200. And if you just give that a stir, make sure you get it right to the bottom of the base so you can really just get everything in there. Pop the lid on, and then I just want you to leave that. I'm only going to put 140 grams in. So I'm going to leave this on here, and whilst Paul's leaving his for 2 minutes, all I'm actually going to do is leave mine for 1.5 minutes. So this will be 140 grams of slightly stronger coffee, and then we're going to dilute afterwards, and that gives you a bit of control, a bit of liberty over quite how strong you want it to taste. Whereas with your natural, I think you want a really rich brew. You don't necessarily want to be diluting that. I'm going to put my jug on and I'm going to flip it, if you do the same, Paul, and then I'm going to start slowly plunging through. As Paul's doing that, I'm going to pop mine back on the scales. I'm just going to put my preferred dilution is about 60 grams. So that leads us to about 200 grams of coffee overall. Should we try them?
Yeah,
absolutely.
There's no bitterness in that at all.
No,
it's
really sweet.
Very sweet, lovely, smooth.
You don't need the bitterness to get that full coffee experience.
It shows my whole idea of what coffee tastes like and how I perceive it and what I thought it was.
It would be easy to think if you brewed that and it tasted different to what you expect a coffee to taste like, then you might assume you've brewed it wrong, but that's actually a really beautiful, you can imagine sipping that of a morning.
There's no one flavour of coffee, there's a whole spectrum of coffee. This is the natural, you might remember, from Uganda, and this will be very different again. You can probably already smell a slight difference in the cup.
Oh yes, you can.
The fruitiness, the funkiness.
Wow.
We're going to get really tropical fruits out of this. Kind of mango, sort of strawberry, a bit of roasted nut in there.
Oh, that's really nice, that.
I think you might hate it.
No, you know what? It's more fruit juice than it is coffee.
Yeah. I was going to say then, if you told me you'd made me a specialist tea, a cup of tea, I'd believe it. But it's not in my brain what I associate coffee tasting with.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, what is it?
And this is how loads of coffee around the world is processed. There's a natural process, and these are these kind of funky flavours that you get from that process.
Right, we're done.
Yeah,
it's amazing, wasn't it? Where's
been
Paul?
Awesome. I don't know.
Oh my God, what the hell's this?
Well, this is my campervan setup.
Wow.
Do you want a coffee?
I thought we were trying to make this more straightforward.
This is my Sage home coffee machine. It makes the perfect cup of coffee.
Nice.
And with a built-in armrest as well, right? Yeah.
And my EcoFlow powers it. What more could you want?
Wow, looks very convenient.
That's incredible, isn't it?
And look at this coffee.
I'd just like to say big love to you too. Thank you so much for being part of this. I personally feel like I've learnt so much about coffee that I never knew before.
Yes, thank you. It's been an amazing, tasteful and enlightening trip. Thanks so much. We've had so much fun and I've loved every minute of it.
It's been absolutely epic. The only disappointing thing is we've got to go home today.
Do you think Mrs. Booth will see that or hear that?
She'll just be pleased she's getting her coffee machine back. She doesn't care about me.
Super, thank you. Thanks so much.
The big 10-4, gentlemen. Safe drive home.